Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Amica Mutual Pavillion in Providence, Rhode Island. And this was Monday Night Raw's go-home show for Bash in Berlin, which is this Saturday. And Monday Night Raw tonight, of course, as a go-home show, it did nothing to get us hyped for Bash in Berlin this Saturday. But the show as a whole, it was a good show. And Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, is doing much better than SmackDown, in my opinion. With its storylines and, its feuds and, how the show flows. It's still long for 3 hours, though, but Monday Night Raw is coming out the better show than SmackDown is. But tonight on Monday Night Raw, we had the Judgment Day versus the LWO. We had Damage Control versus the Pure Fusion Collective, the Pure Shit Collective. We had the Intercontinental Championship #1 Contenders Tournament Finals. We had 2 of them tonight. We had Jey Uso versus Karrion Kross and Kofi Kingston. We also have Pete Dunne versus The Miz versus Xavier Woods. And we had Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. And the main event, we had Uncle Howdy in his in-ring debut on Monday Night Raw. And he had taken on Chad Gable. But overall, Monday Night Raw, good show it was tonight. But like I said, as a go-home show, it did nothing to hype us up for Bash in Berlin this Saturday. But before I get into the review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded today, I uploaded my movie hunter video when I went to Koch Comics Warehouse on Saturday. So my video of that is up. A whole lot of VHSs that I found in that place. It is awesome. Sadly, I heard that they're closing that location. One of the guys ended up saying that works there that they're trying to find a new location, which I hope that happens. I hope they find a new location because a lot of good stuff in that warehouse. But check out that video if you guys haven't seen it. But anyway, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up with the Judgment Day. We had Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, Jade McDonough, Finn Balor, and Carlito. They all end up making their way out. They end up coming down to the ring. So the Judgment Day, at this point, were all in the ring. Finn Balor had a mic in hand. Liv Morgan then got on the mic. Liv Morgan ended up welcoming us to Monday Night Raw. And she kept saying, "All rise for the Judgment Day." Balor then ended up saying that it's time to remind everyone what the Judgment Day is all about. So he ended up showing, footage of last week on Monday Night Raw when Balor ended up attacking Damian Priest, and when Liv Morgan ended up attacking Rhea Ripley, where Liv Morgan ended up driving the steel chair into Rhea Ripley's back. So we end up seeing that recap. So then Carlito ended up saying, "Now that was cool." Jade McDonough ended up saying that the beating was a long time coming. To which Balor ended up saying that they are not the bad guys, but both Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley are. And they got what they deserved. Balor then ended up saying that last week was a preview for Bash in Berlin. Liv Morgan then ended up saying that if Rhea Ripley didn't have an ego, none of this would happen. Liv Morgan then ended up saying that Daddy Dom and her will always be on top. So Dominic had the mic in hand, and of course, we got boos from the crowd, the piped-in boos, of course. So the fans there in Providence, didn't want Dominic to speak. Carlito then ended up speaking in Spanish to the crowd to try to shut them down, for them to hear what Dominic has to say. So Dominic then ended up saying that Liv does things for him that Rhea has never done, like help him beat his deadbeat dad. So then the crowd started chanting, "You suck," to Dominic. Dominic ended up saying that with Liv's support, he is entering the Intercontinental Championship Tournament, and he will win the whole thing. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it, Dom. So then, Rey Mysterio's music ended up hitting. And when Rey's music ended up hitting and he came out with the LWO, I'm like, can we please move on from this Rey and Dom feud, please? It's rinse and repeat. How many times are we going to see Rey and Dom go at it? It is so overdone. Please, let's move on. And then we're possibly going to see another match between Rey and Dom at some point. No doubt it is going to happen. We are all sick and tired of this overlong feud with Rey and Dominic. So Rey ended up making his way out with the LWO, Cruz del Toro, Walking Wild, and also Dragon Lee. Holy shit, they found Dragon Lee. So they got a big ovation from the crowd. So the LWO were now in the ring. Rey on the mic. He kept asking Dominic if he has looked in the mirror and that he is lost and out of control. Rey ended up saying that when Dom was with Rhea, he had a set, meaning he had a set of kahunas, and that someone needs to put him in his place. So Dominic ended up saying to Rey that he already beat him, and he was gone for weeks. So Rey then ended up saying that Dominic is a big jackass for hanging out with Liv. So Rey ended up telling Dom that he will slap the mustache off his face. So Liv was like, hey, don't talk to the women's champion, the world women's champion, like that. So then we got a brawl with the LWO and the Judgment Day. LWO ended up sending Judgment Day out of the ring, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. And that was how the segment ended. Overall, very mid-segment to open up Monday Night Raw tonight. Just the Judgment Day come out there, and Balor and Liv, talking the same shit, with Rhea Ripley from Liv, Finn Balor about Damian Priest. Same old. Nothing new. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the match got underway. It was an 8-man tag. Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Dominic, and Jada McDonough and Carlito versus the LWO, Rey Mysterio, Cruz del Toro, Walking Wild, and Dragon Lee. And at first I'm like, I don't even care about this match. I don't care about it. But then, as the match ended up progressing, it was a decent match, in my opinion. So the match was already in progress as Monday Night Raw came back from commercial. Dragon Lee ended up nailing Finn Balor. Rey was then tagged in. Rey started hammering away on Balor. Rey then dropped Balor on his back. He ended up going for the cover, and Balor ended up kicking out. Carlito then tagged in. Carlito then ended up hitting Rey with the right hand. Rey then made the tag to Cruz del Toro. Carlito ended up sending Del Toro to the corner. Del Toro ended up coming back with a crossbody to Carlito. Walking Wild then ended up coming in, and he ended up going for the cover on Carlito. but Carlito ended up kicking out. Carlito was then driven to the corner face first. Cruz del Toro was in. He ended up getting dropped by Carlito. Dominic then ended up tagging in. He started stomping on Cruz del Toro. So the ref got distracted. Cruz del Toro ended up getting triple teamed on the apron. Dominic then ended up hitting Cruz del Toro with some right hands. He then ended up stomping away on Del Toro. Del Toro tried to fight back. Carlito was then tagged in. Carlito then ended up hitting Cruz del Toro. Carlito then made the tag to Balor. So Balor ended up coming in along with Jaden McDonough, and Cruz del Toro ended up trying to fight back with the both of them. Cruz del Toro ended up sending McDonough and Balor out to the floor as Joaquin Wilde was then tagged in. Joaquin Wilde then ended up dropping McDonough with a DDT. Dragon Lee ended up tagging in. He ended up sending Dominic to the floor. So the Judgment Day were now all on the floor. Joaquin Wilde ended up doing a awesome, nice looking springboard to the outside. He took out the entire Judgment Day on the floor. Very good spot there from Joaquin Wilde. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Carlito then ended up tagging in as Balor was stomping on Joaquin Wilde. So Jaden McDonough was then tagged in. He ended up landing on Joaquin Wilde. And McDonough ended up going for the cover on Cruz del Toro, to which del Toro ended up kicking out too. Joaquin Wilde tried to make the tag, and he tagged in Ray. So Dominic was then tagged in. Of course, we had once again Ray versus Dominic in this part of the match. Ray then ended up dropping Dominic. He then hit Dominic with a right hand. Ray then went up to the top rope, and he came off the top. He took down Dominic. So Ray then ended up getting distracted, and Dominic then ended up hitting Ray in his midsection. So we had Ray going up to the top rope. Dominic ended up meeting Ray with a big elbow to his face. Both Ray and Dom were up on the top rope. Ray started to fight back at Dom. He then dropped Dom with a sunset powerbomb, to which Ray ended up going for the cover on Dom, and Dom ended up kicking out. So Dominic was in the ring. He was sent out to the floor. The LWO ended up taking out the Judgment Day on the outside. Ray ended up sending Dominic back into the ring. Ray then ended up setting up Dominic for the 619, to which Ray connected with it. So Ray was up on the top rope, and he was distracted. Ray came off the top rope as Liv Morgan got involved. Liv pulled Dominic out of the way, so Ray ended up landing on the canvas. Dominic then ended up going for the cover on Ray, and so there you go. Judgment Day ended up winning the match, and once again, Dominic ended up beating his father. Post-match, Judgment Day then ended up assaulting the LWO. Jaden McDonough ended up clearing off the commentary table. So the Judgment Day ended up slamming Ray's head on the commentary table. Jaden McDonough and Balor ended up beating up on Ray. And we had Dominic on the top rope. He was looking to jump off the top and just drive Ray through the commentary table. But Rhea Ripley's music ended up hitting. Rhea Ripley came out along with Damian Priest, the Terror Twins. So Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley both end up running down to make the save. Liv Morgan end up running away from Liv Morgan, to which Rhea end up grabbing Liv, and Rhea ended up tossing Liv into the ring post. Dominic was in the ring as Rhea ended up staring him down. Liv ended up leaping on Ray. Priest then started fighting Carlito and McDonough and Balor. Dominic and Balor ended up retreating as Carlito and McDonough were in the ring. Priest and Rhea were with McDonough and also Carlito in the ring. Priest ended up delivering the South of Heaven on McDonough. Carlito was then dropped with a riptide by Rhea, and pretty much that was basically that. Overall, the match itself, it was a decent match, in my opinion. But please, no more of seeing Ray versus Dominic. Please, move on. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage. She was talking to The Miz. Jackie Redmond ended up talking to The Miz about the titles that he has held. To which Miz ended up telling Jackie Redmond that tonight he will right wrongs and will be one step closer to the title he made famous, the Intercontinental Championship. Bronson Reed ended up coming up to The Miz. So Bronson Reed ended up telling The Miz that he ended up taking out Seth Rollins and R-Truth. Bronson Reed ended up saying that after he takes out Braun Strowman, he is coming after The Miz. So pretty much that was basically that. So it looks like we're going to get another match with Bronson Reed and The Miz at some point. Who knows? Because Bronson Reed just said to The Miz, you know, I'm coming after you after I'm done with Braun Strowman. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They ended up talking about last week's match with the Final Testament. And Xavier Woods ended up saying that him and Kofi need to communicate tonight, as they are both a part of the Intercontinental Championship No More Contenders tournament. So that was that. And then we saw Cathy Kelly. Cathy Kelly was backstage with the Pure Fusion Collective, the Pure Shit Collective. Can I ask, who was liking this feud between the Pure Shit Collective and Damage Control? I bet 90% of you aren't liking this feud. So Cathy Kelly was backstage with Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, and Zoe Stark, the Pure Shit Collective. Sonya Deville ended up telling Cathy Kelly that Dakota Kai may never wrestle again. They ended up saying that they ran down Asuka about how they have made their impact. So that was that. And then we went to the match. Damage Control, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark of the Pure Shit Collective. I did not give a shit about this match. This match was awful. I took no notes of this match. Damage Control ended up winning because Io Sky came off the top rope with a big elbow on Zoe Stark, ended up going for the cover. That was it. Like I said, I know none of you are interested in this feud between Damage Control and the Pure Fusion Collective. There is nothing to look forward to in this feud. It is boring. Moving on. We got a video package with Bo Dallas. He ended up talking about the false prophet continuing to reveal himself into the world. So they ended up showing footage of Chad Gable. Of course, Chad Gable and American Made, they're in this feud with the Wyatt Six, which has been, booked pretty decently. So Bo ended up saying that Chad Gable has been given chance by chance, and that he refuses to remove the scales from his eyes. Bo ended up saying that the head must be cut off. So Bo ended up saying that he accepts Chad Gable's challenge and invitation. And then he ended up saying, this is a purge. This is more than a reckoning. This is a purge. So pretty much that was basically that. And of course, it was filmed, like it was on a VHS, which I'm liking that they're still going with this VHS, gimmick for the wide sixes, promos. Very throwback to, how the look of VHSs were when you watched the movie on it. So yeah, so that was the first hour of Monday Night Raw. That first hour went so fast that it moved by quickly. So then, hour 2 kicked off with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre ended up making his way to the ring. So he had a mic in hand. The fans there in Providence were booing the hell out of McIntyre. Drew McIntyre ended up saying that it is great to be alive in Providence on a Monday night. He ended up saying that he knows Punk's routine, how he talks about himself, and how hot the industry is, and not how he sat on his butt for 8 years while everyone did the work. So McIntyre then ended up talking about how little Timmy came from the moon to worship his Lord and Savior, CM Punk. McIntyre then ended up sitting in the ring. He ended up saying that he is telling the truth, that Punk is scared of him. McIntyre ended up saying that Punk keeps attacking him from behind. He ended up saying that the fans keep chanting his name every week. So McIntyre ended up asking what an enabler is. He then explained what an enabler is. He ended up saying that it's like handing an alcoholic a beer. He ended up saying that every scar he puts on Punk's body, the fans are going to have to live with it. He ended up saying that the fans have chosen Punk over the Warrior has been there the darkest of times. McIntyre then once again showed the bracelet of, Punk's wife, AJ Lee, and Punk's dog, Larry. McIntyre is really loving Punk's bracelet. So he cherishes Punk's bracelet. So he ended up saying how much hurt that the bracelet has caused Punk. So CM Punk's music ended up hitting. Punk ended up attacking McIntyre from behind. He ended up taking out McIntyre with a strap. Punk then ended up sending McIntyre to the floor. McIntyre started to fight back at Punk. So he ended up pinning Punk in the back. McIntyre then grabbed the strap and he ended up going after Punk. But Punk ended up moving. He grabbed the strap from McIntyre. He ended up pinning McIntyre with the strap over and over. So security and officials ended up coming down and they separated both McIntyre and Punk. Punk was in the ring. He ended up laying out the security guards with the strap as McIntyre ended up retreating through the crowd. So pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But overall, I thought this was, a good segment from McIntyre here. McIntyre is just great on the mic, and they're building up this feud, more good. We saw it at SummerSlam, and again, of course, the strap match at Bash in Berlin, and their third match is going to come at Bad Blood, which I'm predicting it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match that the both of them are in. So really am enjoying where this feud is going. So in CM Punk, he ended up saying nothing. He just went and attacked McIntyre, and this was good. We need to hear Punk, on the mic, saying, oh, McIntyre, he's still talking shit. He still is wearing my bracelet. Or anything like that. So I like that. He attacked McIntyre from behind and just started beating him with the strap. Punk didn't really need to say anything. But really am looking forward to the strap match at Bash in Berlin between the both of them. And then we had a video package. This video package was hyping up the match against Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Now, of course, it was a good video package, showcasing, their matches. Then we saw Jey Uso. Jey Uso was in the concession stands. Fans, were there, and they were hyped to see Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet. So Jey Uso ended up making his way out to the arena. Fans were chanting Yeet. So he ended up making his way down. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the first match in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament match. This was a double contenders match. And it was Jey Uso versus Kofi Kingston versus Karrion Kross. And this was a good match here. So the match ended up getting underway. Kofi and Jey ended up taking turns stomping on Kross in the corner. Both Kofi and Jey ended up double teaming Kross in the corner. Kross then fell to the outside. Jey then ended up going for a roll up on Kofi, but Kofi kicked out. Jey ended up going to the ropes, but Kofi ended up catching Jey with a spinning back elbow. So Kofi ended up going for the cover. Jey kicked out. Kofi threw Jey into the ropes, but Kross ended up pulling him to the outside, and he ended up hitting Jey with a clothesline. So we had Kross end up getting on the ring apron, but Kofi ended up hitting Kross with a drop kick. Kofi then climbed up to the top rope, and he ended up leaping off the top onto both Kross and Jey on the outside of the ring. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Jey Uso was in control of the match. He delivered some right hands onto Kross, and then he delivered a kick to the side of the head onto Kofi. Jey then ended up running towards Kross. Kross then came back and delivered a kick to Jey's face. Kofi then delivered the double boot onto Kross. Kofi then delivered a cross body off the top rope onto Kross. So Kofi ended up going for the cover, and Kross kicked out. Kofi then delivered a drop kick onto Kross, and Kofi then delivered the clothesline onto Jey. Kofi ended up hitting the Trouble in Paradise on Jey, and he delivered a elbow to Kross's face. Kross then delivered a powerbomb to Kofi, so Kross ended up going for the cover. Kofi kicked out. Kross then locked in the cloverleaf on Kofi, but Kofi ended up reversing that into a roll-up, and Kross kicked out. Kross then delivered an elbow to Kofi's face, and Jey delivered his awful-looking spear onto Kross. Jey gotta stop doing that spear. It is absolutely awful, the way how he does it. Jey then climbed the top rope, and he ended up landing the Uso splash onto Kross. Jey ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Jey Uso ended up winning the match. So Jey Uso is moving on into the Intercontinental Championship Tournament match. He is one of the number one contenders. But overall, it was a good way to kick off the number one contenders, Intercontinental Championship Tournament, to determine who will face Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Really liked how they're doing a tournament out of this, and giving some guys chances to face Braun Breaker. That's not Sami Zayn. But good match it was. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the Viper, Randy Orton. Randy Orton ended up coming out. Fans ended up chanting his name. Randy Orton got into the ring. He got on the mic. Orton ended up saying for almost the entirety of his career, he has listened to the voice in his head. But now he listens to their voices, the fans' voices. Orton ended up thanking the fans for singing along to his theme song. And yes, the fans were singing along to Orton's theme. So Orton ended up saying that he has won a lot of titles, but there is one world title in particular that he loves the most, and that is the World Heavyweight Championship. Orton ended up saying that the reason that he loves the World Heavyweight Championship the most is because it was the first world title that he ever won. And of course, Orton was the youngest in history to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He ended up saying 10 years ago, he was given the honor of unifying the two world titles that they had, that the WWE had. He ended up saying at that moment, he retired the World Heavyweight Championship with his name engraved on it. He ended up saying that a year ago, the new World Heavyweight Championship was reborn. He ended up saying that he was on his couch recovering from his spinal fusion surgery. He ended up saying that he knew that if by the grace of God he was able to perform once more, he would one day make sure that his name would be engraved. Orton ended up saying on Saturday he gets that opportunity. He ended up saying new World Heavyweight Championship, new title, new legacy. Of course, he's going to be facing Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, which you all know that Gunther is going to retain the title. Orton is not winning it. So the fans started chanting, "You deserve it" to Orton. Orton then ended up saying that he does know that he will be stepping into enemy territory in Berlin. He ended up saying that he will be facing a living legend to the people in Europe. He ended up saying that Gunther is a legend over there. Orton ended up saying that he also knows that he will be facing a man who has his head shoved up his own ass, that he doesn't realize he will be facing him. Of course, he was talking about Gunther. So Orton ended up saying that he grew up in front of everyone. He signed his WWE contract at 19 years old. Orton ended up saying that they've watched him grow up and get humbled over again and also learn from his mistakes. Orton ended up saying until eventually he had to step up behind the shadows and earn every ounce of respect that comes with his name. He ended up saying that when Gunther stepped foot in the WWE, he was a 30-something-year-old egotistical prick. He ended up saying that tidbit might be the one thing they have in common. Orton then ended up saying that the difference between him and Gunther is that he was humbled, and Gunther has never been put in his place. But at Bash in Berlin, that is what he intends to do. Orton ended up saying that the match had to be about, all the match had to be about was the World Heavyweight Championship. But Gunther wanted to make that personal. Orton ended up saying that Gunther spoke about his family, his demons, and he ended up saying that Gunther was right, and that he faced his share of demons. Orton ended up saying each of them was tougher of an opponent than Gunther is, and he beat them just like he will beat Gunther. Orton ended up saying that if Gunther is curious at all as to how he will do it by using the three most dangerous letters in sports entertainment: RKO. Orton then dropped the mic, and that was how the segment ended. But very good promo from Orton here. You know, it's crazy, to think that Orton, won the World Heavyweight Championship 20 years ago at a young age. He was the youngest World Heavyweight Champion. Doesn't even feel like that happened 20 years ago. But Orton is not winning the title on Saturday. Gunther, we all know that he's retained the title. But it could be a good match. But Gunther's retaining. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. And this was good. Really enjoyed this. Of course, the ring had to be reinforced, because if WWE was going with, if the ring was going to collapse, this match would have been the main event. So unfortunately, we did not get a ring collapse, because it was in the middle of the show. So the match got underway. Strowman delivered a drop kick onto Bronson Reed. He laid in some right hands on him. So Strowman ended up delivering a chop to Reed's chest, and he delivered it to Reed in the corner. Strowman ended up slamming Reed into the corner, but Reed ended up running back. He had pinned Strowman with a clothesline. Reed then delivered a chop to Strowman's chest, but Strowman threw Reed into the corner, and Strowman ended up hitting Reed with a chop to his chest. Strowman then ended up running to the ropes, and he ended up delivering a cross body onto Bronson Reed, which looked awesome. So Strowman ended up running towards Reed. Reed then delivered a kick to Strowman's face. Reed then climbed to the second rope, and he delivered a crossbody onto Strowman, to which Strowman then rolled to the outside. Reed then ended up running to the ropes, and he landed a suicide dive, which that suicide dive did not look that great, in my opinion. Did not look good. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, both Reed and Strowman were fighting on the entrance ramp. Reed ended up throwing Strowman into the LED board that was near the entrance. So Reed ended up going through gorilla position. And then he went backstage, and he picked up a trash can. And he was waiting for Strowman to, come from the curtains, from gorilla position, which eventually Strowman did. And Reed then ended up throwing the trash can at Strowman. Garbage from the trash can, came out. So both guys end up fighting to the outside of the arena. Security was trying to block them, from going into the parking lot. So eventually we had, both guys end up taking out two of the security guys. They fought to the outside. They went into the parking lot. So it was a parking lot brawl between Reed and Strowman here at this point. So we had Strowman deliver a right hand to Reed. Strowman then ended up choke slamming Reed on the hood of a car. Reed then ended up grabbing a metal pipe. He ended up hitting Strowman with it. Strowman was on the top of the car, and Bronson Reed climbed the top of a wall in the parking lot of the arena. So he climbed that top of the wall, and he jumped off the wall and landed a tsunami onto Strowman on the roof of the car. We had the bulb in the car explode, and officials ended up running to the outside. Adam Pearce was also there, and they were there to check up on both Strowman and Reed. So the match ended in a no contest, but really enjoyed that spot of Bronson Reed jumping off that wall, landing a tsunami onto Strowman on the roof of the car. That was awesome. That was a great ending to Reed and Strowman. And they've been really doing good with booking Bronson Reed. They're making us actually care and look forward to Bronson Reed with what he does every single week. So really happy Bronson Reed is getting what he deserves. And that is a good push. The guy absolutely deserves it. So then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Adam Pearce and officials were with Braun Strowman. And we had Braun Strowman end up telling the officials and Adam Pearce that he cannot feel his fingers. So we end up seeing that. And then Michael Cole ended up saying that Bronson Reed got up and he refused medical attention. So the guy is a beast, Bronson Reed. Gets up, wants no medical attention. But that's crazy. Overall, really enjoyed what they did here with Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. And then we had the second match in the Intercontinental Championship No More Contenders Tournament Finals. The Miz versus Xavier Woods versus Pete Dunne. The winner of this will be put in the tournament along with Jey Uso, to determine who will face Braun Breaker next for the Intercontinental Championship. But this was a good match here. Match got underway. Xavier Woods and The Miz ended up pinning Pete Dunne with a double clothesline to the outside. Woods delivered a clothesline onto The Miz. Pete Dunne got back into the ring. So Pete Dunne ended up delivering a dropkick onto The Miz, to which The Miz ended up falling to the outside. Pete Dunne delivered a kick to the side of Woods' head. Pete Dunne ended up going for a moonsault onto The Miz, but Miz moved out of the way, and Pete Dunne landed on his feet. Woods ended up going for a suicide dive to The Miz, but Miz moved out of the way, and he landed onto Pete Dunne. Woods landed onto Pete Dunne. Miz then delivered a tornado DDT on the outside of the ring onto Xavier Woods, which was great. And then Monday Night Raw with the commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Xavier Woods ended up spinning Pete Dunne around the ring, and he did his inner Claudio Castagnoli, Xavier Woods, where he did the spin like Claudio, so Claudio would be proud of Xavier Woods for doing that. Miz got into the ring. He had pinned Xavier Woods with a DDT. Miz then delivered the code breaker onto Pete Dunne. Miz then ended up pinning both Woods and Pete Dunne with a double DDT. Miz ended up going for the cover onto Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne ended up kicking out. Miz then went for the cover onto Xavier Woods. Woods kicked out. Miz then delivered it kicks onto both Pete Dunne and Xavier Woods. So Miz ended up slamming Pete Dunne face first onto the ring post. Miz then delivered a crossbody onto Xavier Woods, but Woods caught Miz, and he slammed Miz onto the canvas. Woods then delivered a gutbuster onto the Miz. Pete Dunne ended up coming in, and Woods ended up powerbombing Dunne into Miz. Woods ended up going for the cover, but Miz kicked out. Woods then went for the cover onto Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne also kicked out. Woods and Pete Dunne ended up delivering some chops, but Miz ended up chopping both Pete Dunne and Xavier Woods. We had Miz ended up delivering the skull crushing finale onto Xavier Woods. Pete Dunne got into the ring. He threw Miz to the outside. Pete Dunne ended up going for the cover. Miz broke up the pin. So Miz ended up grabbing Pete Dunne, but Pete Dunne ended up getting Miz in the crossface. Xavier Woods then delivered a kick onto Pete Dunne and the Miz. Woods climbed to the top rope, and he went for a elbow drop onto the Miz. Xavier Woods went for the cover. Pete Dunne pulled the referee to the outside of the ring. Pete Dunne then delivered a kick to Xavier Woods' face. Pete Dunne then delivered the bitter end onto the Miz. Pete Dunne went for the cover, and there you go. Pete Dunne ended up winning the match, so now he joins Jey Uso in the tournament. Overall, good match it was, and the right guy in Pete Dunne, ended up winning. So, good move there. Then we had Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Braun Breaker. So, Braun Breaker ended up telling Jackie Redmond, great work by Jey Uso and Pete Dunne. He ended up saying that he heard Jay last week name drop him. Breaker ended up telling Jay that he better watch his mouth, because there has never been anyone from Jay's family that beat anyone from his family. The Steiner family. And then Braun ended up saying, as for Pete Dunne, he doesn't think so. He ended up saying that he promises he is that dude, that dog, and that the worst is yet to come. So that was what Braun Breaker had to say by, the two guys that are now in the tournament, for the Intercontinental Championship. But will they face Braun Breaker? Who knows? So then we had Chad Gable. Chad Gable was bench pressing backstage. He ended up saying that he is not the one hiding behind the mask, and that he is not the one who gets his family to do the dirty work. Chad Gable will end up saying that Bo will tap out tonight, and that he is a genius, a master, an Olympian, Chad Gable ended up saying that he is American made. So there you go. Little hype for Chad Gable and Uncle Howdy's match, later on. And then we had, WWE airing a tribute because earlier today, Psycho Sid ended up passing away. Psycho Sid, may he rest in peace. He was, good in the ring. I've seen some of his matches. Very entertaining, guy that he was, back in the day. But thoughts and prayers go out to his family and his friends. A shame that, we lost Psycho Sid today. May he rest in peace. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Michael Cole and Corey Graves end up announcing 3 matches that we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw. We're going to be seeing Sheamus versus Bronson Reed versus Ludwig Kaiser in the Intercontinental Championship #1 Contenders Tournament finals. And also we're going to see Ilya Dragunov versus Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio in the Intercontinental Championship #1 Contenders Tournament finals. So 2 matches there that, could be good. And we'll also get Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler. Grab a pillow and a blanket. That's how I would describe that match. So those 3 matches we're going to be seeing next week on Monday Night Raw on the Fallout show from Bash in Berlin from the Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Main event. The in-ring debut of Uncle Howdy. And he had taken on Chad Gable. And this was a very good match here. This was a good main event. Really enjoy the presentation of the Wyatt Six and, Uncle Howdy. Although I gotta say, the wig on Uncle Howdy, I don't know about you all, but doesn't it look like a mop to you? It really does. So Uncle Howdy having moppy wig hair on him. So Chad Gable ended up coming down to the ring first. And then the lights end up going out where the piano key playing, the lantern was on the ramp. Uncle Howdy ended up coming out. So he grabbed the lantern, made his way down to the ring. He then got into the ring, and the match ended up getting underway. And I gotta say, I'm very impressed with Bo Dallas in this match here. He actually did very good, as Uncle Howdy. No ring rust on him. So we had Uncle Howdy end up delivering knees to Chad Gable's face, but Gable then delivered a knee to Uncle Howdy. So Chad Gable ended up running to the ropes. Uncle Howdy then delivered a clothesline to Gable. Gable then ended up going to the ropes. Uncle Howdy then ended up delivering a power slam to Gable. So Gable ended up going to the outside. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Chad Gable ended up going for a headbutt from the top rope, but Uncle Howdy ended up moving out of the way. So both Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable were down here. So both men got to their feet. So Chad Gable ended up throwing Uncle Howdy to the outside. Chad Gable then climbed up to the top rope. And Gable, from the top rope, landed a splash onto Uncle Howdy on the outside. Gable then got back into the ring. And then he went back to the outside. Gable ended up running towards Uncle Howdy. But Uncle Howdy ended up laying Chad Gable out with a back body drop. So we had Uncle Howdy deliver a running knee to Chad Gable's face onto the barricade. Uncle Howdy then ended up placing Gable onto the commentary table. He then grabbed Gable. Gable came back, ended up hitting Uncle Howdy with an angle slam on the commentary table. Chad Gable got back into the ring, and the ref started to count, for Uncle Howdy to get back into the ring. The ref ended up counting to 9. Uncle Howdy got back into the ring. Gable then ended up placing Uncle Howdy on the top rope, and Chad Gable landed a suplex to Uncle Howdy. Gable ended up going for the cover, and Uncle Howdy ended up kicking out. Chad Gable then delivered 3 German suplexes to Uncle Howdy. Gable then grabbed Uncle Howdy by his waist, but Uncle Howdy ended up holding onto the top rope. Uncle Howdy then delivered a sit-down slam to Gable. He ended up going for the cover. Gable ended up kicking out. Uncle Howdy then delivered the reverse neckbreaker to Gable. He then ended up going for the Sister Abigail, but Ivy Nile got on the ring apron. Ivy Nile distracted the ref. Gable then locked in the ankle lock on Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy ended up getting out of the ankle lock, and Gable accidentally knocked the referee out. So Uncle Howdy had the mandible claw onto Chad Gable. That led the Creed brothers to run down. The Creed brothers ended up throwing Uncle Howdy into the barricade, and then Uncle Howdy was then shown laughing at, how the Creed brothers ended up throwing him into the barricade. He was just So the lights end up going out, and the Wyatt Six end up showing up. We had, Eric Rowan. We had Dexter Loomis. We had Joe Gacy. They ended up attacking the Creed brothers on the outside. And you had Ivy Nile end up jumping on Eric Rowan's back. And I'm like, where's Nikki Kross here? Where's Sister Abigail? Eventually, she didn't even show up. So back in the ring, Chad Gable ended up going for a moonsault off the top rope. Uncle Howdy ended up moving out of the way. Gable landed on his feet. Uncle Howdy then ended up catching Gable, and he laid out Gable with the Sister Abigail. Uncle Howdy ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Uncle Howdy ended up winning his in-ring debut match on Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw went off the air with Chad Gable down on the canvas, and Uncle Howdy was next to him, just staring out at the crowd, and that was basically that. That was how the show ended. But overall, this was a very good main event. Good in-ring debut for Uncle Howdy here. And really liking how the way that this feud has been booked. It's very entertaining. And when the Wyatt Six show up on TV, they are just interesting to watch. WWE is doing good in booking the Wyatt Six. But overall, Monday Night Raw, very good show it was tonight. But as a go-home show, it did nothing to hype us up for Bash in Berlin this Saturday. But good show it was for Monday Night Raw tonight. But anyway, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I will not be reviewing Dynamite on Wednesday. So, I don't know what the next video will be. But until the next video, I'll see you all later.